All right, so good evening, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome on in to the June segment of Mother Nurture. I'm your host, Qiana Alexander, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Team Unstoppable, as it is a total Team Unstoppable takeover all summer long. So this weekend, we have our special edition of Father's Day weekend, and with a focus on Alzheimer's. We'd like to begin by inviting you to join us for a moment of silence for all the dads and the men that we've lost. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for hopping on. We're honored to welcome any men that are tuning in this evening for this discussion. We're so grateful for your willingness to participate and to become more involved in the fostering and the youth of the children. No doubt the role that you play is very vital to their growth and also to the encouragement of families everywhere. Much like someone who also offered a lot of encouragement was the late Dorothy Richardson, Troy Richardson's mom, the fantastic gentleman that invited us to take over this event. Dorothy Richardson, she was very loving, very involved in her community. She was a huge influencer, a beloved choir singer. She was also a very loving nurse and someone who embodied what a nurturer is. So we want you to know that a nurturer is not limited in any way, shape, or form by gender, and you don't have to be a mother in order to be a nurturer. A nurturer is defined by someone who simply cares for and looks after others by tending to their needs. So that's what we have here for you this evening. Several wonderful nurturers throughout their community. And I would like to ask you to join me in highlighting some sensational sisters in business. Miss Marlena Jones-Body, who is also accompanied by her sister, Dale Jackson Bonds, and they'll be talking to you about their personal experiences with Alzheimer's. First, we'd like to begin by introducing Miss Marlena Jones-Body.
Thank you, Qiana, and thank you, Troy, for having us on this call tonight. I'm going to start my story in my mid-50s. I had a bit of a health scare. I had a routine colonoscopy where several precancerous polyps were removed. I was surprised by that. I thought I was perfectly healthy, and I was also scared because both my mom and my grandmom had had colon cancer, and that was not something I wanted to share with them. So what could I do? I started doing a little research on what I should be eating, and more fruits and vegetables were high on the list. I was reasonably careful with my food choices already, but obviously they weren't doing the job. It looked like juicing was in my future. But to tell you, juicing I found to be expensive, time consuming, and really I just could not keep up with it. It's just too labor intensive. Around that same time, I met a woman in a dance class who introduced me to powdered produce in a capsule called Juice Plus. I felt like this was what I had been looking for, so I started taking it. Okay, fast forward a few years, I'd been taking Juice Plus faithfully and seeing good results. I was a more regular kind of gal, if you know what I mean. And I decided to have my DNA tested. I did that just for the purpose of genealogy, because I'm interested in that. But the company that I chose was 23andMe, and they also give you medical results when they do your DNA. And I found out that I carried the Alzheimer's gene. Wow, another scare. Mom and my granddad had both suffered from this disease. Even though initially I was in shock about these test results, I knew I wanted to do whatever I could to prevent this. Again, after doing some digging, I learned lifestyle changes, including diet, are a big factor in turning this gene on or off. You don't have to be a carbon copy of your parents and grandparents, even if you have some of their bad DNA. This is a big reason why I continue to take Juice Plus and why I continue to educate myself and learn all I can about staying healthy and teaching others to do the same. How could I keep this information to myself? It's not the easiest thing, but making simple changes can improve your health at any age. The bottom line is 90% of people need more fruits and vegetables, and we need to do a job doing that. So now I've been taking Juice Plus for quite a while. I am feeling better than ever. I'm still dancing at age 73. I'm living a very robust and full life with fun, family, friends, and fulfillment. And I have financial options at this age that only a small percentage of Americans have. I'm supplementing my retirement income, and I'm not totally dependent on the government to provide me with a future. I'm building a business with my family and others that I love, and I'm contributing to my community, wherever that community is. And I feel like I was given a gift that day that I was introduced to Juice Plus, and I want to give that gift to others. And that's really why I do what I do. Thank you, Qiana.
Thank you so much, Marlena. That was such an inspirational story, because typically when finding out about a health crisis, especially something that runs in the family, it would knock the wind out of you and be very discouraging. But you decided, once you found out this information, that your DNA did not have to be your destiny. And not only did you find a way to help take control of your health, but now you're inspiring others. Thank you so much for sharing. We cannot wait to hear from your sister Dale, to get her firsthand experiences, to find out what she does as far as inspiring others to take care of themselves, and how she looks after her family. Take it away, Dale.
Thanks, Qiana, for giving me some time to share. And thank you, Troy, for allowing Team Unstoppable to be a part of this continuing series. So my story, of course, is different than my sister's, as it should be. And I'll go back even farther than she did. I have memories of my mom and how she prepared and served what were considered at that time balanced meals. I think healthy eating probably sank into our subconscious at an early age. We always had meat or fish, at least one vegetable and a carb, sometimes salad. And there was always fruit in the house. My dad used to eat an orange and an apple every day. The only problem is he would peel the apple, but I would come behind him and eat the peel. I think he missed out on some nutrients. I may have gotten the better end of that deal. As I've gotten older, I realize not only what you put into your body, but genetics plays a large role in your health determination. I've come to know I inherited some of my father's genes, while you heard my sister has inherited our mom's. Daddy had high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and guess what? So do I. My grandmother had heart disease. So far, thankfully, I've steered clear of that big bullet. So, like my sister, I made changes in my diet: less red meat, more fish, adding more fruits, vegetables, and lowering my carb intake. A little bit of exercise, losing a pound or two, and my blood pressure is under control. I still take medication, but my blood pressure is very stable. Speaking of adding more vegetables, my sister and son came to visit me in Texas after Hurricane Katrina. They came to help my husband and I see what we could salvage in New Orleans. Before we headed out, she handed me 2 bottles and said, "Here, I want you to try this. Just take it." Well, I trust my sister, and so I started taking it once we returned from New Orleans. Then I did a little research to find out what these powdered fruits and vegetables were all about. One thing I discovered: nutrition. Nutrition that would strengthen my immune system. Who doesn't need that? I know I did. After a few weeks, I saw a difference in my hair and nails. Something's going on here, I thought. I was postmenopausal and had tried everything to keep my nails from being brittle. Wow, I'm glad she said, "Just take it," and I did. because looking back, we didn't know what was waiting for us in New Orleans. Dirty water, mold, yuck. So strengthening our immune system was a good thing. After all, we had to make sure our tetanus shots were up to date before we returned home. After seeing such improvements in my overall health, why wouldn't I share this? While many of my customers live elsewhere, my passion is getting New Orleanians to explore more nutritious diets. I've discovered that that is a marathon, not a sprint. I love helping educate folks on what to put into your bodies. What you put in your body makes a difference, especially those of my ethnicity, because we are prone to diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. It's not easy in the Big Easy. However, I do my best to get folks to make one simple change, and I go from there. Thanks, Qiana.
Wow, Dale, that story gave me such goosebumps, especially when you talked about everything you dealt with in Katrina, considering that we're dealing with a global pandemic right now and many people are looking for a solution that's an answer to their prayers, something simple, convenient, and affordable that will help to boost their immune function and will help give them reassurance to their families. So we're so grateful that you shared that on top of great examples of ways we can establish healthful habits that really help. So thank you so much, Dale, for sharing. We appreciate having you on this evening. So for the next portion of our segment, we're actually going to begin with a very special panelist. Is going to be introduced here by Elsie Gould-Matthews. If you remember her, she was one of our highlighted featured speakers for May, and she will be here leading our question and answer segment, where Dale and Marlena will be here to offer us insights on ways that we may be able to help others who are helping their loved ones through battles with Alzheimer's. So here we are with Elsie Gould-Matthews.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Qiana, for that introduction. And wow, I just want to say I am so honored to have these two lovely ladies, these two sisters on our team, and Qiana as well. So, you know, we are all sisters. It's a sisterhood. We do this business together. And I'm so honored to be on this call tonight. And thank you, Troy, for the invitation. So I want to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's first. So we're going to start with a few questions, and let's just start with the basics. So my first two questions are, what are the first signs of Alzheimer's, and at what age was your mother when you first noticed these signs?
So I'm going to take this one. It's kind of interesting because we really didn't. I see my husband here in the background.
Tell him to come back when I get to men's health. We'll just ask him directly.
Okay. All right. So, but we really didn't notice my mother's symptoms early on. None of us were living at home at that time. She was living by herself. And I was the closest. I would see her fairly regularly, but, you know, I wasn't with her day to day. So I really couldn't see all those signs. But some of the signs are things like losing your wallet, your checkbook, and I had taken over her doing her banking at that point. She was in her 70s, same as me and my sister. So she was in her 70s when we first noticed the symptoms. But a family friend called me and said, I think there's something wrong with your mom. And it's getting to me even just now speaking of it again. But so I talked to my mom. I said, hey, what's going on with you? But I had also noticed that she was losing weight. And that was because she wasn't eating properly. So anyhow, putting all those things together, she knew what was happening with her, but she wasn't telling us. And when I finally went to the doctor with her, she had been going to the doctor, it might have been even 2 years, and talking about this with the doctor. So when I finally got in there, that was when the floodgates opened, and she told me, you know, all the things that had happened. So I had to just deal with it at that point.
Thank you for that. And I know it's difficult sometimes, you know, looking back and reflecting back and sharing, because it's kind of like you're reliving that all over again.
Absolutely.
And so grateful for you to opening that pain up to share and to help others in the community. So I think, Dale, you're up for the next 2 questions. So my third question is, what challenges did you encounter as the disease progressed? And I think Marlena did touch on a few things, but maybe there's something you would like to add.
Sure. Of course, the difficulty for me is that I live in New Orleans and my mother was in Philadelphia. So I was not present and I wasn't even close. But I did try to visit and I did try to call. But that became increasingly difficult because she no longer recognized who I was. We would start off with a good conversation, and then I could tell that she thought I was her sister because the tone of the conversation changed. And so, and even when I visited, she would ask me, what are you to me? And I would have to explain that I was her daughter, that I was her oldest daughter. So that was difficult for me. It was very hard to handle, but you sift through with the support of family.
All right, thank you so much, Dale, for that response. And I know it must have been a very difficult time for both of you and all of your family members. And you touched a little bit on my next question. And I think most people are familiar with the popular movie, The Notebook, and are familiar with the main characters, Allie and Noah. And in the movie, you know, Allie had good days and she had bad days. And sometimes she recognized her loved ones and sometimes not. And you did mention that with your mother. Is that typical of the progression of Alzheimer's?
I do think it is very typical. At some, if your loved one continues to live on, those are the things that you will anticipate. Is that kind of loss of connection, totally loss of connection. Um,
Well, I know that, you know, it must be equally painful just going back and revisiting some of those experiences. And I thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
And I
I
know,
apologize because I kind of stumbled there, but it is
oh,
an
I'm sorry.
emotional, it's emotional.
Right. Was there something else you want to add? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's good. That's
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
So we are going, I know we could spend a lot more time on this topic and delve, you know, a lot deeper into the issues, but we do want to divide our time up because June is also Men's Health Awareness Month. And the Juice Plus Company is promoting awareness of annual checkups for men and advocating for taking care of your health all month long. Of course, we advocate for that, you know, year round, but at this time, we were just trying to bring more awareness. And I just recently discovered today that US life expectancy dropped in the first half of 2021 for African American males, a
Yes.
decline of 3 years. So we're moving in the wrong direction. And also for Hispanic males, it dropped 2.5. So, we would like to have the years increase, not decrease. But we're going to, my first question, and I think we're going to have Marlena answer, or maybe your husband might want to come back and answer. The question is the man in your life, is he proactive about his health and diligent about wellness checks and doctor visits?
Well, I will say that that is one of Bob's many positive attributes. He is on top of going to the doctor and getting his health checks, and I mean, he probably goes more than I do. He's really on top of it. So and I'm thankful for that, because there are a lot of men out there who will let something fester knowing that there's something wrong, because part of this whole thing is you have to know your own body. You have to know the things that are, you have to know when something is wrong and when it's time to go to the doctor and have things checked. So yeah, I'm very pleased and happy that is something that he keeps on top of.
Wonderful, and I'm happy to hear that. All right, so the next question, we're gonna lighten up the mood just a little bit. So this may be, a little bit cliche, but a lot of men think that they need to be a meat and potatoes type of guy. A lot of guys won't eat salad. They won't eat sushi. They may not drink smoothies. My husband is actually one of those people. He doesn't eat salad or sushi, but he will drink a smoothie. So my question is the man in your life a meat and potatoes type? Do they love veggies? Will they eat salad, drink a smoothie? And we'll just do a quick round and let everyone answer. We'll start with you, Marlena, or Dale, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I can. I'd like to start with that one. My husband is definitely the meat and potatoes kind of guy. He does not like vegetables. That's why I am so thankful that Juice Plus is in my life. But when he started taking Juice Plus, he started asking for salad. So I give him salad as often as I can, just to balance it out. He also loves the smoothies. And so, especially right now when I'm trying to put weight on him, I make sure that I give him at least one, maybe two a day, to supplement his diet. So yeah, he's meat and potatoes, but I can stick those vegetables in there occasionally.
That's wonderful. All right, Marlena, how about your hubby?
Well, it's funny because my sister and I often say we married the same man, but but he's a different man. So yeah, my husband is definitely a meat and potatoes guy too, and pasta. Dale didn't mention that, but I know her husband likes a lot of pasta as well. And but he still likes to have his steak once in a while. He's way back on having. We have gone to like alternative types of pasta that are not wheat based, and he definitely will eat a salad if it's a good salad. But he still says to me, I need some meat in there. Even when we do the salads in a jar, which he loves. He loves the salads in a jar, but he says, I still have to have some meat on my salads, so.
Interesting. Thank you for that. You mentioned pasta, and I'm part Italian and I cook a lot of pasta. I think that might have been the reason my husband married me is because I was good at making all those pasta dishes and, occasionally throw a few veggies in there for color, to make it look pretty. But we're pretty much plant-based now, and we've switched over to the healthier pasta options as well. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Now, so when your husband, spouse, or a significant other is down, what extra duties fall on your shoulder, from simple things like picking up meds to more challenging things that you may have to deal with? And I don't know if anyone who's the best to answer that question. Has anyone had a mini health crises? I know my husband had a heart attack and had to have stents put in, actually had to undergo that twice. And so not, life shattering, although it was a little scary at the time, although just I had to pick up meds and do a couple things, pick him up from the hospital. But I don't know if you've had any more serious challenges or anything else that you would like to go into.
Well, both of our husbands had prostate cancer, and they have handled it differently. But that was it was a stressful time. And just going through that whole process was, I pretty much had to do everything, whatever that was, it just was like, you have to do everything for the time that they're going through after the surgery, if they have and the recovery and so I found it to be very stressful. I didn't feel like I could stop for a minute. And I didn't want to leave him alone also. It was just the two of us, and that was a challenge. Finding a time when, okay, he's resting comfortably, and I'll run out to the store and get something or whatever. So it was quite challenging for me.
All right, thank you for sharing that. So in the interest of time, we're going to move on to the next question. And you kind of segue to it a little bit. Oftentimes, when a loved one is sick, it's not only physical support, but also mental support as well, because it can be very mentally draining. So how does that, impact you physically and mentally? And the most important question is, what do you do to keep your cup full, keep your spirits up, and also keep your loved one's spirits up?
Well, this.
Go ahead, Dale.
Okay, this is a very difficult question. My husband right now, for the last 3 years, has been going through various health challenges, and just to kind of piggyback on that last question, I have really had to almost take over everything. I have to do the driving. I do have to pick up the meds. I have to go to the grocery store. So everything has turned out to be something I didn't want to do, but have found that driving is one thing that I hate. So having to drive has not been a joy for me, but I do it, I do what I have to do. And how do I keep my cup full? I have friends, I have family. I talk to them. I have my church family, and they are very supportive of me. And until COVID, they were also very good at helping to transport my husband back and forth to his medical appointments. So, but COVID came, and it was then left to me to do all of that. So Jim does a pretty good job of He gets a little angry, but he does a pretty good job of connecting also with our church family and with, he has a carnival club that he's part of. And so he talks to those guys and they give him a lot of support. So it's, you have to get over yourself and get and talk to people, talk it out, and let people help you.
Thank you for that share, Dale. So much appreciate that, giving us much insight. Marlena, do you have anything to add? Like, what do you do to keep your cup full or keep everybody's
Well,
spirit?
yeah, there's the main thing I try to do. I literally, I do try to do this. I try to laugh at least one good hearty laugh every day, whatever I can find. I have to find humor in these things because otherwise I might go crazy. And I think that is, the thing that really keeps me sane. So it's something that I try to do every single day.
She and I do that together a lot.
Yes, yeah, we're comparing notes.
That's wonderful. How awesome to have sister support, community support, church support. All those things are great ways to try to, keep your sanity and keep your spirits up in a difficult time, which kind of leads me to my last question of the evening. And that is, what advice would you give to people who have a spouse, a loved one, a significant other who are undergoing a serious health crisis? Um, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but if you have any other suggestions of, you know, just some advice to help people.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, I think that beyond family, if you're open to it, I would try to find a support group that understands what you may be going through. Of course, my husband has multiple issues, so I'm not sure where I would start. But and that's why I connect with my sister and my daughter, especially because my daughter is a doctor, and so I kind of rely on her, to give me some avenues to use. But I encourage people to, you have to reach out. You cannot do this alone, and you're not in this alone. And you'll find that, you know, that's true.
And I definitely agree with that. And I think, prayer never hurts. And gratitude, finding things to be grateful for. And that includes things that your loved one is grateful for and that you're grateful for. So, if you can find those things, because there's always something to be grateful for. And so I think those are, but I totally agree about reaching out, using all the resources that can be made available to you, finding out if there's support groups regarding whatever particular issue there is, or within this group right here, we're a group right here of
Right.
supportive people. So this is what we do.
Thank you so much, Marlena, and thank you, Dale, for all that wonderful insight. It's been very inspiring. And, we want to create awareness for these health challenges. And I know there's many other health challenges out there that people are going through, but, there's always help out there. There's always hope. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. And a health crisis really affects family, it affects community. And we in the Juice Plus community are advocating um, for health and for people to be proactive about their health and to take preventative measures for their health, because there is hope and there is help out there. And we are our brother's keepers. or maybe I should say we are our sisters keepers, brothers and sisters, I guess. But I want to thank you, everyone, for Marlena and Dale for giving all of that insight. And I know some of that was maybe a little painful looking back and reflecting back. And I want to let you know how appreciative I am for you to answer some of those difficult questions. All right, Qiana, back to you. I think we covered a lot in this segment.
We did, and that was so great. Thank you very much, Elsie, for facilitating those questions. We gained a lot of insights. What I heard was it's important to laugh often, that we can learn how to better care for ourselves and our loved ones, to lean on others for support as best we can, and that it's important to maintain an attitude of gratitude and to also take moments out for ourselves. Similarly to what Elsie said, our loving community offers plenty of resources that are informational, inspirational, and fun, and we encourage you to get with the person that invited you so we can share those things with you. We also invite you to come back and join us for the July segment of Mother Nurture, happening July 16th at 7 p.m. Again, it's always the third Friday of every month. But before then, you can actually come out and you can hear from professionals of color that'll help you with incredible stories on ways that you can support and influence your communities with the help of urban gardening. It's every Saturday at 8 p.m. It's the Hicks Sisters Tower Garden. I believe that I may have the link here for you. Here we are. I'm going to drop it right here in the chat. Let me see. Pardon me. Just one moment. I got you. Let me see. All right, here we are. So thank you so much, everyone. I want to say a huge thank you to Marlena, Dale, Elsie. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences. And thank you to all of the guests that attended, as well as contributed their personal experiences with these family health crises. We hope to see you on our next event. And we also hope that everything you heard here this evening, that it will help you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.